Good, you?
Give me a D and a G. It's the Dawg and Gus Show. It's the Dawg and Gus Show.
Hey, Dawg, your beard's looking flicking great, my man.
Thanks, Gus. I've been using the Bush Beard Wash.
The what now?
At Bush Beard, they know that every man with a beard is a unique beardo. And that's why they offer a wide range of products to cater to every beard's needs. Whether you have a long and luscious mane or prefer to keep it short and sharp, their products will help you achieve that perfect look.
From the nourishing beard oil and balm to the refreshing beard wash, their products are made with all-natural local ingredients to keep that beard healthy, soft, and lustrous. The beard comb and brush are designed to detangle and shape your beard, making sure you always look your best.
At Bush Beard, they're dedicated to providing the best possible grooming experience for all the beardos out there. So why settle for an average beard when you can have a glorious, well-groomed one? Try Bush Beard products today and unleash the full potential of your beard.
Be sure to use Dawg and Gus 10 and get 10% off your order.
Bush Beard, the small-town brand with the big old Canadian heart.
Welcome to the Dawg and Gus Show, now on Feel It Radio.
Hey, what's up, Dawg?
Not much, Gus. You?
Oh, just was dealing with some stuff. There'll be no video of this, unfortunately, but we'll get it all sorted out. But we're very happy to have a great band here today.
Yes, we do. And they've been very patient with us, and we're thankful for that.
They might swear at us by the end of it.
Afterwards, when they're talking to their friends, they'll be saying, oh, those fuckers.
So space between.
Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome,
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Well, it's my pleasure and Dave's pleasure and Dawg and Gus's pleasure.
Yeah, all of our pleasures.
So where did you guys meet? Where did the band form?
Gosh, the band has been in the works for quite a while now. James and I, we were in a previous project together, and it's a project that I started when I was a young teenager, maybe 14 or so, and we were doing kind of a blues rock thing, and James joined, and it wasn't really cohesive with the sound that we wanted to go for. And so just before the pandemic, I think a few months before, we had decided that we wanted to start this new project to have a little bit more of a heavier sound, just a little bit more of authentically us. So we got that started, and, obviously the pandemic hit, so things were on hold for a few years, but we were lucky enough to find Tom through a Facebook ad last summer. So it's been the three of us ever since.
That sounds fun. Yeah, so a Facebook ad. Did you put it out or did they?
They put it out. Yeah.
Wanted cool drummer.
Yeah, man of many words, I guess.
Yeah.
Not really. Actually, I'm the quiet one. Definitely.
I can't tell. Just kidding, bro. But that's cool. So you basically were looking for a drummer that would kind of bring that impact that you wanted to see, you've envisioned for the band, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
so
did you know right away, like he was the guy?
I think pretty much. I don't know. Maybe James can speak to that as well. I felt pretty confident bringing Tom in.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard finding drummers and musicians who you gel with musically, but also personally. I mean, it's a hard balance. You want to have people who are, obviously technically proficient, but also, just not an ass and nice to be around. It's a bonus. So, it's good when we found Tom, and just even the first kind of audition, the first couple of weeks, we put him to work pretty quick. We went into the studio, 3 weeks, 4 weeks after he joined us. We put him on the grills there. He didn't really have any chance no trial run for him.
Wow, no pressure at all, Tom.
Yeah, well, and didn't you guys say, during the audition, didn't you say that you didn't know if I even liked it? Because, when I'm drumming, I don't look happy. I'm working on it, but I look pretty, focused, or I guess angry when I'm focused.
That's true, yeah. You're a little sour looking when you're drumming sometimes.
Tom has a good, rock face on stage, but when you're trying to feel out how he's feeling, you're I don't know if he's just really feeling it or he's pissed off right now.
Yeah, when I'm not putting on the show, I'm just there's no video, but
Thanks for rubbing that in.
No.
Yeah. That little shot at us here. That's a stank right there. That's what that look is.
I think so. Well, I'm also, when I don't know if you noticed when I was messing with the computer, but I look really mad even though I'm just focused. So I can feel that, Tom.
Yeah.
That happens with Tom and James a little bit. James is the one that he gets that face when there's any tech issues.
That's true. I have a severe love and hate relationship with technology, but I mostly just really hate the computer software aspect of things because I can't just turn a knob.
Yeah.
And it kind of drives me insane. And so sometimes I'll just be like sitting trying to figure out this really stupid problem that I probably just need to like turn off the computer and turn it back on. It'll fix it. But I can't. I'm like so focused. I'm like, I have to be able to fix this right now. Like it's got to work, and I just can't figure it out.
Were you having a little deja vu watching Gus? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be thinking about that for a couple weeks.
It's all good, bro. We'll figure it out.
No, it's funny, like technology, yes, there's so many benefits and I'm usually quite good with it. However, when you can't figure it out and you are a person that likes, I don't know, I'm like results oriented, so I really want it to be figured out and it doesn't work out.
You know, we have a problem when he asks me. Do you know what to do?
Well, you're a DJ.
I know that, but not with that software. That's not a DJ software.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, it is called.
And I
it
agree.
is FM.
Yeah, FM. Yeah. Anyway, I agree with you too. It's like sometimes with the tech, I'm just like, fuck it, go old school.
Yeah,
Pull out the CD players and let's go.
Yeah. Well, we still have a fairly modern piece of equipment.
There
We
you
do.
go.
Yeah. No, it's all good. So, like, if you were to say what kind of style your music is, like a genre, if you could, and it doesn't have to be like, rock or punk or whatever, but what is it?
Well, I mean, we were talking about this in the car because we're working with a promoting company right now, and they're really pushing the metal side, but I don't think we're quite metal.
It's tricky. We're kind of that once in a blue moon band that we don't fit exactly in rock and we don't fit exactly in metal, but we've got both of those elements in there. So in general, I usually call us hard rock because it kind of gives you that we're rock and, we've got the melodic hooks and we've got, the fun, catchy parts in our songs, but we also have the more metal elements of, especially Tom's drumming brings that in and some of the vocal distortion, things like that.
My drumming background is definitely like a metal drumming background. I grew up drumming like Dream Theater and Avenged Sevenfold. So I just think all of our influences kind of just bleed into the music.
I just can't play that fast, so we had to slow down a little bit. Yeah, I think hard rock is probably the closest sort of kind of main genre that we kind of fit in.
Well, I listened to it on the way here, and I would say yes to that. It's not. You're right. It's not hard rock, and it's not metal. It's somewhere like you said. It's kind of bleeding into one another.
Yeah.
It's a good mix. So tell your production company that's your answer.
There we go.
You can tell Tom has a metal background, though, just in the speed he plays the drums.
There you
because,
go.
like, we've talked about this on our show. I love metal, and I know I don't look it, but I do love metal. But the thing with metal is the drummers are so insane, like they're so fast and so on time. So I noticed that. So I wouldn't say I guess I have to agree with what you say about hard rock, but to me it was sort of like hard. It was like a light metal.
There we go.
Does that make sense?
Hard rock music with metal drums.
Yeah. It's up to your interpretation. If we can't give you a clear answer, and I don't think anyone we've talked to has given us a super clear answer as well. So, you take what you like from it, and I think that's kind of the beauty of what we do. Like you said, is it's so much of an intertwining of different styles that you can kind of appeal to people in all of those different genre camps.
Okay, we're gonna call it aluminum.
There you go.
Light metal. Get it?
Tom doesn't like it.
No, that's okay. Tom doesn't have to.
Because he spoke up
I'm
as soon as
teasing
I
him.
said my interpretation. He's like, it's hard rock with metal drumming. All right,
get it.
Which I
It was a
appreciate.
joke.
I know. It's
a good one, too.
You're on fire, bud.
Come on.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm looking at James's shirt and it says Tool on it. So is that one of your influences?
I think so. I mean, it's kind of Tool's a band I sort of discovered like late into my guitar playing or even kind of music like listening. I only really kind of last maybe 6 years or so sort of started listening to their stuff, but it definitely musically and not even really guitar wise, but just musically, I think was an inspiration for me. Just listening to the way, they kind of structure some things and incorporate different elements and ideas and rhythms and stuff. So it definitely, I think, has been, I know I'm not the only one. Maren and I are both pretty big Tool fans, but has definitely been an inspiration, definitely on my writing.
Okay, so like you guys are young too. So like, what's the band or the person that you're like, man, I want to do that. I saw that, now I want to do that. And it wouldn't have been Tool because you just came into Tool, but who would that be for each one of you?
Oh,
I think the first band that I ever saw where I was like, oh, I got to do this was my dad rented the DVD for Kissology 3 from the library. It was the only one they had at the time. Or maybe it was 2. It was 2, I think. The red one that has the movie Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. I don't know if you've seen it. It's horrible.
Yes, it's a very bad movie.
It's very bad.
Very bad.
And I don't know why I still, thought that after watching that movie. But anyways, when I watched that and I got like really into Kiss at the time, I was like, man, this is what I want to do. So I think Ace Frehley was definitely a big influence for me. I don't really necessarily think I play anything like them or perform anything like them, but I know that was kind of one of my biggest sort of influences.
Oh, me.
Yes,
gosh, my background is a little bit different. I am classically trained, so I did not get into rock, metal until I was maybe halfway through high school. I had kind of those influences around the house, and like James mentioned, Tool is probably my biggest influence, one of my favorite bands. I got into them thanks to my dad always playing them around the house. But they didn't really become an influence until I myself got into this work. So it's tricky. I can't pinpoint an exact moment where I was like, this is what I want to do. I think I was more gradual into it. I kind of just starting with my old project, playing a few covers here and there. I remember we did like a Guns N' Roses Sweet Child of Mine cover, like every other young rock band does. And it was a little bit cheesy, but it was great. And then slowly, as I got more and more into bands like Tool, Billy Talent, 3 Days Grace, things like that, it just slowly came to be that's what I wanted to do.
I'm a little different. So my dad was a drummer, so it was kind of the natural path for me to go into it. I mean, drums are hard to get into, so when you have that opportunity, take it. I'm self-taught. I didn't do any lessons or anything, so I just drummed what I liked to listen to, and like I started really getting into drums in high school, and that was when I was into Dream Theater. So I'd go with Mike Portnoy. Like when I was learning how to drum, I just wanted to copy him. Like I wanted to know how to do everything he could, because every genre he plays, I just think it's like he does the best job out of anyone in those genres. So go with Mike Portnoy. Fanboyish, yeah.
As you should be. He's sick. So I get that whole reasoning and it's funny how I already know the answer to what we usually ask if it's 80s or 90s, because they're going to say 90s, because Tool is my era and I'm 43 years old. So like to hear that you guys got into it 6 years ago, I was like, where were you guys? Like we've already had that stuff around. But it is funny how music, transcends eras, right? And it comes back and you may be attracted to a drummer that is from that era, and you may be attracted to bands from that era, and it's cool. It's just you like what you like. It's just the best thing about music is you have to follow your age group, and that's the only way it's going to go. That's what I love about it.
That's not the way to be.
No,
like what you like.
Well, you got into 70s like after the 70s.
Yes, I did.
Right?
It's true, because growing up, my dad played country all the time. Classic country I listened to all the time. I didn't get into Zeppelin or Deep Purple or anything like that till after high school, because I'm not a conformist. I don't like, these guys love this. Well, I don't care. I'm going to listen. And I listened to the 80s during high school. But then I came back to Zeppelin, to Deep Purple, to all this stuff. And then like Tool. And I like that. I'm going to pull that in. I'm going to start listening to it. And to be a fan of Portnoy, no problem. He's a big fanboy too. Like they've done interviews with him on who his favorite drummers are.
Yeah, he's super outgoing.
He's a big fan of Neil from Rush, right?
He loves Neil, Bonham.
Yep.
The classics, right?
So there's nothing wrong with being a fanboy, for sure.
Is he in your top 5 of all time?
Yeah.
Who's your top 5?
I don't know if I could name 5
Putting
drummers
him on the spot.
At the moment, I have terrible memory. Gavin Harrison, he's incredible, from Porcupine Tree.
Oh, dude, that's not one you hear all the time. I like where your head's
Deep
at.
cut.
I love it.
The Rev, Avenged Sevenfold, got to go with him.
Nice.
Joey Jordison, Slipknot, he's crazy good, or was. Rest in peace.
Yeah, he just How
Uh,
long ago did he die? Not that long ago.
like 2020 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
shit.
It was-
No, he's got 4. Okay, you got 4. You got one more. Yeah. No stress.
I don't know.
James
I don't know.
James is egging him on. We're sharing a mic, so he's like, okay.
I'll go with Wolf Van Halen just because I love Mammoth.
Okay.
I love Mammoth. I really got into them this year. Thank you, James.
Thanks to James. Yeah.
Yeah, because he did that. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Mammoth stuff that's coming out. Wolfgang Van Halen, like he has a solo project, and so he's on tour right now. He released his first album in I think it was like 2020 or 2021, and he plays everything on the album. So he does all the instrumentation and everything, and then he just tours with backing band. But that's actually been a very recent kind of influences of just listening to that stuff. Was like, man, this is like the modern rock that I listen to. I'm like, this is fantastic.
You might
Like-
have a couple of rock influences back in
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe one or two.
I'm going to throw that out there.
Two for sure.
Yeah, a father and maybe an uncle. Who knows?
No, they've been kind of a recent influence of all of us. James got into them first, and then he introduced them to Tom and I, and James went to see,
Kind of a trendsetter.
well, don't give yourself too much
We were on
credit.
our way to 3 Days Grace in Quebec, in Montreal, and he was playing them, and I was like, I never gave the album a shot just because the album artwork's weird.
Big crab.
It's a big crab.
It's like crushing a car or something. It's cool.
A crab crushing a
But
car.
Yeah.
the music's, it's really refreshing music. It's really good.
I think that's definitely an artist I could see us being compared to, just because they do have some of the heavier elements instrumentally, but the vocals are a mixture of that clean and distortion, and I think that is one of the things about us that kind of takes us away from the true metal genre. But I mean, I'm a sucker for a good melody, and you know, I'm all about a good scream too, but I really like being able to sing along and kind of hear how the melody works in with the music and how it creates the chords. And I mean, you can hear my theory background kind of coming out a little bit, but I just like that interplay between the two, and I think that Mammoth is a group that does that really well.
Yeah, and I think when I was Wolfgang came out, like when I saw Van Halen and they came, he was with them for some. I think he was playing bass with them, and I thought that was really cool to have like your dad, who's like literally an icon. Like he's one of the greatest guitarists of all time. James, I'll tell you that.
James will back you up, James.
Speaking of trendsetters, the fact that like that his son was probably across from him, and it was such a good experience. And then of course Eddie dies eventually, but it is pretty cool. Like I'll have to check that out because I'm sure I'll like it. I really like like I mentioned, I do like metal. I like heavy metal, and I also like some like I was never a big Slipknot guy though. I respect them, but it wasn't just never my deal. So as a classically trained vocalist, so do you play other instruments as well?
Oh gosh, no.
No.
I mean, the guys know I've tried.
She tries. She gives a little bit of effort.
Better guitar than me.
That's true. If you've seen any of our videos online,
We're still working on it.
Tom's playing can speak for itself. I think it's
A lot
great.
of people thought I was the guitarist.
I wish I could play an instrument. If you give me a piano, I know exactly what notes are on it, and I can kind of plunk out chords and write using it. But the two hands at once thing is not something my brain has ever been able to process. So that's out of the picture for me unless I try really, really hard to get that working. And then guitar, I mean, James has heard this. I tell everyone I play campfire guitar, and usually people know what that means.
It's true. There is actually one song. We recorded the version of it, but we play it live. It was originally like an acoustic song that Marin actually wrote the like whole song. She wrote all the guitar part to. There's only one part, and the vocals for. But I think there's 3 chords in it, and it's the same 3 chords over and over again. So it's a great song.
Works.
It's a great song.
I've heard by some that it's our best song, so don't knock it.
The live version is definitely one of my favorite moments in the show.
Yes. James is always a fan of a guitar solo.
James I think he likes his attention. He's like another James in the room. I'm James as well, just so you guys know. So that's interesting. You know what I've noticed is that you're really competitive with each other, which is phenomenal because I think that actually brings the best creativity. I think like if you can have a discussion and like give parts and be sarcastic with each other and have a bit of a banter about it, it always brings out a great product, I think. Would you agree?
I would agree. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty argumentative, so.
That's true. I can't say there's ever been a decision that we've made, big or small, that hasn't had someone playing devil's advocate at least a little bit.
A lot of emphasis on that someone there.
There's no finger pointing, though.
Yeah. No. There's no video. Don't worry. Yeah. They can't see me wagging my finger at you. No, I think that the reason that I think Tom fit in so quickly bringing him in is that he is very much like James and I in that he has opinions and he wants to be heard and be an equal member. And I think that a lot of the people that we were playing with before were happy just playing and just being there. And James and I really wanted to pursue this as a business and as a career. And so Tom coming in and having that same mind was a great thing, but that also means that you have one other strong opinion when making decisions, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because I know we've all had our moments of feeling like we were, I know this is the right way to go. And then someone has a different idea and it turns out that their way was the better way to go. So again, not pointing any fingers at anyone, but
we do work well together though. We don't we don't yell at each other or anything.
No.
We never really argue that much about something.
We haven't dissolved into a fight yet.
No
fists or anything like that.
No, I think the most I remember you arguing was you two when we were having a tech issue. I forget what it was, but I just
touching my click track wrong and I didn't know.
I just remember sitting across the room and seeing you both crouched over our in-ear rack on the computer and saying, no, it should be this way. Oh, you touched that. It shouldn't be.
It goes back to our tech issues.
There you go.
It drives me insane. Like you touch one thing and then you've wrecked the whole thing. You got to go back and start from scratch again. So I make Tom do it.
No, I guess you could say we're not afraid to push each other's buttons, but it's usually for the best.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all friends here.
Well, it's a healthy relationship too, right?
Exactly.
There's nobody controlling the whole thing and everybody's got their input and everybody's happy. So it makes for a good cohesion, right? So now when you guys go into the studio, do you have a favorite person you go to see?
Yeah, we've been working with Steve Foley at Audio Valley Studios.
Steve's awesome.
Yeah, he's
we
great.
love Steve.
We've actually, like Marin was saying, her and I were in a project years ago, but they did the recording with Steve, and then so we just went back with him because he's great. He's got a great space and he knows what he's doing, and he's got a whole host of people on his resume. But no, we've just liked working with him. He's super professional and quick, which is great.
Yeah.
What I really like about Steve is he's a great coach. Like he plays everything, right? So like he knows how to come at it from the drummer's perspective or from the guitarist's perspective. I've never had like a drumming coach that can like help you with parts or tell you like that doesn't go there, don't do that or whatever. Or you're not actually playing what the bass is doing, so change that. So it's nice to have a coach in the studio so you're not just going in there and doing something that won't end up making a good product. Yeah,
I think it's more important for everyone. I mean, he's not like our producer, but it definitely like having the extra person in the room to go, no, that sucks. You should not do that on the record is good. I mean,
yes,
it's super easy to just put your head down and be like, no, I wrote this. This is correct. This has to be the way it is. But sometimes you're wrong. We don't like to admit it, but sometimes you're wrong. And having that third party opinion where they're like, no, I don't think people are actually going to like this, or it's not necessary, or maybe you do need this extra part. Like having that other person and, he's got the experience and the industry knowledge and all that kind of stuff, which is helpful.
No, agreed. You got something?
We love Steve.
Yeah, we do.
We love Steve.
Yeah.
We often use Audio Valley to record our podcast. And yeah, he's a very dry humor for sure.
Oh
And
yeah,
was
he fits in well with us.
Yeah, and me too. So it was when we first sort of finally figured each other out, we were just sort of going back and forth like the same way, and it was hilarious. I mean, it was just I like him a lot, and I think that having that guide, somebody who has the experience that he has, to sort of help you get the best out of your instruments and out of your voice, and obviously working with you as opposed to against you, and yes, the constructive criticism comes as long as you take it the right way. You know, I think that's great. I think that's so important at especially in the like, you're not just at the beginning of your career, but maybe just getting your footing and finding the way you want to go, and he's very helpful with that. That's great. That's good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, James and I have been doing this for a few years now, but like you said, we're still new in this project, and you know, our EP's just come out today, and which is super exciting. But it's only kind of just the start of us finding our sound and our voice, and even the writing that we've been doing is already a little bit heavier than what we have out right now, even though it's still cohesive. But just like you said, having someone else to kind of guide you when you're just beginning something. And I mean, like, when we first went in with Steve for this EP, it was Tom's first time ever in the studio. So I know you had said that you were super happy to have someone kind of coaching along and helping you out with that, because I know, I mean, my first time in the studio was freaky as well, but
yeah, it was intimidating. It was hard. It was frustrating when you had to do like, oh, this is the 10th take of this one fill, and it's like, am I ever gonna get this? I'm just so stressed out about it. But yeah, no, it wasn't as bad as I think I thought it was going to be, especially when I only had like 4 weeks with the music.
Yeah, we didn't give you very much lead time.
So I mean, there's only so much of my influence I can do when the song's already written. But the new stuff, yeah, I think that's probably why it's getting a little heavier, is because I have a little bit more influence on the actual writing process.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff, like pretty much everything we recorded on this EP was written before Tom was really in the band. And we had gone through, I mean, during COVID, we had gone through some other members and drummers and different bassists, and it got so hard finding people, partly just because the like restrictions changed like every week, so you like couldn't get together with people, or you know, and everyone was just doing different things. And being at this age is like a weird transition age for people, right? Where they're like, you know, they're in a band and they like it, but you know, then they want to go be a lawyer, and they just, music is a side thing. It's like, okay, well, we have to find people who want to do this as a career. And so that was really hard to try and wean people down, even if you know, they're a great fit and you like them and, you know, they're professional, but they don't want to do this as a career. It's like, okay, well, it's going to have to end at some point, so we need to find, you know, the next person. So pretty much everything we had was already written. So we gave it to Tom, and we were like, well, here you go. Here's all the parts. Like, we have all these demos, but do your thing with it. You can change it up. And, you know, the drummer we had just before, you know, he was a single kick player, so Tom added some double kick stuff and, you know, changed some of the fills, and you know, spruced it up a little bit.
Crazy. It's not like a double kick extravaganza record. Like,
yeah, you wait till the next one. It's gonna be like Meshuggah.
There you
Oh,
go.
no.
So now the three of you like are going to be sitting down to write the next one together. Is that you guys
Already started.
Nice.
Yeah, we've actually already been back in the studio with Steve, and we have some more music, another 4 or 5 songs that's already been recorded, which we did. I think that whole set was all pretty much. There was one that kind of started. We had pulled it back and dusted it off.
Different from
it is
that
so
demo.
different. Yeah,
We
yeah.
made it so much heavier.
Yeah. But yeah, everything now we're writing pretty much, you know, collaboratively, equally. We split everything 3 ways. I mean, it's not an ego zone. It's not a, you know, if someone brings something in and it's fully finished and it's fantastic, perfect. But, you know, most of the stuff we're writing is, you know, I'll do my part. You know, Tom will do his part, Maren will do her part. And then we come together and, you know, you edit whatever you don't like, or, you know, change that fill, or let's try this different vocal line, or, you know, this riff or whatever.
Yeah, it's very much like building blocks on each other. So usually it's going to start with some kind of hook, whether that's a vocal hook, or it's usually going to be a guitar riff, and we kind of build the structure of the song around that, and then I put the melody and lyrics on top. And I mean, we found a good system that works for us, but like James said, you know, if you want to get the best product, then sometimes you're going to have to get your ego hurt a little bit and take some criticism. And I think for the most part, it's worked out and it's turned out the best music. So I'm really excited about the stuff that we've been writing and the stuff that we've recorded. I mean, I love the EP, obviously. It's our baby, but just knowing what's coming up is very exciting.
You also get that chance to try it. Like tomorrow night, you're going to do it live, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, you get to get that feel from the audience as opposed to you three and Steve, right? So, like, people will be there and you can see them doing this, or they're like,
no, they want them to bob a little bit more.
no, I know. I know. I'm just saying that maybe somebody's going, well, that's not like their other stuff. Wow. Because, don't look at me is what I'm going to say, because I just kind of stand there and just kind of go.
Yeah, the Dog's very much a listener, and like he analyzes the sound, whereas you'll see me and I'll just be like,
he'll be dancing. And I'll be kind of just like,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The thing that I wanted to, if I may, give some form of how it's going to work, and the way that you mentioned that you don't have egos and everybody brings their own thing to the table. If you stick to that template and the three of you just continue to grow together and nothing gets in your way, I think that'll be a big success for you, because once things start to go one way or the other, just staying in it together, the more time you put behind it with the three of you, it's just going to, some people grow impatient and they walk away from something just before it's going to be massive. And the like this, hearing the excitement of that you're going into the studio and you've already got 5 songs written, like recorded, is fabulous to hear, because it just means that you're into it, you're committed. Obviously, you're probably really hungry, so that's helpful as well, I would say, right? And if I could be of any advice to you, just stick with it a little, as long as you can, and I think that in the end you'll be rewarded for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's the plan. All of us.
And you're rewarded in your own way now, because you're enjoying what you're doing, and you're in it and you're submersed, right? But you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I know the three of us right now we're very happy with how things are going for us and how receptive people have been to us. And we only just came out at the end of October or something. It's been only half a year, and we've gotten great reception, both from friends, family, and people who have no clue who we are. But I think that, like I had mentioned before, it's so important that the three of us are on the same page, both, like James said, professionally, mentally. We're friends as well. We hang out. We have relationships with each other outside of the business. And I think that because our minds are all exactly on the same path, then, I don't think there's any stopping us. I think if we mess up, it's because we give up and we don't try hard enough.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to get kind of burnt out of this sort of industry, and especially at this level. Like, that's why so many people sort of just fizzle out or get content playing where they're at and don't really want to push any further, because it's so easy to just get beaten down by the amount of red tape you have to kind of jump through, and all of sorts of difficult systems and people you have to work with sometimes. Even this morning we had issues with our distribution with our EP going live. Like, there was an issue with it uploading on time. Like, it was supposed to be live and you go in, it's like, okay, well, it's not there. So what's happening? So we spent the whole morning trying to, get on service calls with our distribution label and with Spotify. And of course, everything's like an AI chatbot now, and it's extremely infuriating, because you send it a message and it's like, oh, sorry, I didn't understand that. You want to try that again? It's like, no, I just want to speak to a human.
Yeah.
But, just stuff like that. And, it's hard to be really motivated sometimes, but being able to put out the music that we worked this hard on and being able to get to play the shows and, share that with everyone is definitely the kind of the main motivating factor.
You also, I find you have to have get a thick skin, right? If you're one of these people who is offended easily, get out.
Yeah.
Get out real quick, because you're not going to last longer than a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's going to be people who are going to love the new stuff. People going to hate the new stuff. They're going to, they're going to shit all over your, and you're going to be like, you know what, dude? We like what we're doing. And you just got to say the chorus.
The hate's so much louder than the love.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like, because we put stuff on social media, right? We have all sorts of silly comments on Facebook or TikTok, or we had some post that got promoted on another page recently, and you just get random comments, and they're like, well, at least they try, but it's terrible. And it's like, they've got some crazy username, and you're like, oh, thanks for the feedback, guys. I guess just keep boosting up the engagement.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you just roll with it. It is what it is. If
Yeah.
you don't like it, that's fine. It doesn't bother me.
That's good to be. It's because sometimes it's just like people who have absolutely, they just want to troll somebody and just, they have absolutely no background or
Yeah.
anything. It's just like, well, I hate it. Well, then don't listen to it. And
Well,
we're
the trolls are real. Like they're out there just to simply, they're jealous. They're, and just fly above them, man. Don't even, I remember when somebody said that to me when I was, in my other business, when I was trying to do video all the time, people would make fun of it. And it's like, yeah, but you're literally talking to me about it. So it's obviously working in some way. And so haters gonna hate is a funny thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And the hate, what is it? The hate is so much louder than love. Yeah, I like that.
I know Facebook especially.
Put that on the back of your T-shirt.
Yeah,
Sorry,
there
Ben.
you go. No, some of our videos, I know our drum one got a little bit of hate on Facebook. Like, guess who the drummer is? I guess they were not impressed with my skills. I don't know why, but no, I mean, it's definitely tricky, especially like I said, I started at a very young age in this industry, and it was, you grow up kind of like, oh, why would people be saying that? And then you kind of just realize that it is what it is, and people are gonna do what they want to entertain themselves. And as long as we feel confident in what we're doing and we love what we're doing, then, I mean, that doesn't really matter to us that much anymore.
No, it's just, and that's the great mindset to be in. Because we got the same thing. Like, we've had friends tell us, yeah, I don't listen to your podcast. Well, why not? Oh, it's just not interesting. Okay, fair.
Listen to something else.
Yeah, seriously, move on. And you're dead to me. But
Yeah, Dawg definitely takes it more personally.
well,
no, but like you have the right mindset, and again, we're only on Earth for a limited time, and if you're enjoying and you're immersed in what you're doing, and you fucking love it, then forget them, man. Just put it out there. And, like, you don't like everything either, right? There's music that you may not love, and that's fine. But if you like it and you're making it for yourself, and then some people like it, and then some more people like it, all the better, right? I might be rambling a bit, but it's like, just stay in it, and like, who gives a shit about what these people say? Fuck them. Like, honestly, I tell Dawg that all the time. Like, and he tells it to me as well, because I'll be like, what the fuck did they say that for? And it's like, well, who gives a shit? Let's just do it anyway. And I think that's a great mindset, because you guys are three similar. Like, you're not the same, but you have the similar interest in what you want to see the band. And on that note, where do you see the band in 5 years? Say 5 years. Like, what do you want? Like, how old are you guys now?
We're all a little bit different. I'm 22.
I'm 24.
I'm 19 still.
still, you're just refusing to budge?
Yeah.
Got it.
Are you actually 19? Cool.
Yeah, I turned 20 in September, so we're getting there.
Jesus Christ.
He's very, again, you're all very mature, but I didn't suspect you'd be 19. I didn't expect you to be 22. You're very well spoken. Apologies.
Well,
I
that's good to hear. We're doing something right.
You look. Fuck, he's not old. 24. Shit.
I guess that happened at some point.
Okay,
I looked like a high schooler for so long, and then now I'm looking
James
old.
is 25. You're 27, and you're 29.
Okay.
There you go.
29.
You could pass for 29.
I'm just
Tom.
saying.
I feel more comfortable being 29 with a 27 and a 25-year-old.
Well, here, if you remember my question, it's what you're going to be in 5 years, and in 5 years you'll be 29.
That's scary.
So
don't
I'm actually
spin
gonna be
Tom
almost
into
30
an
in 5
existential
years.
crisis here.
there you go. You want to hear something scary? I'll be almost 50. So there you go. But where do you see, like, if you could have the dream, would you like to play like big venues? Would you like to be, sell 1 million records? Like, is there something that you're like, go wild? Because I think you should dream big.
Absolutely. And it's been tricky trying to balance, what is realistic versus what we want. And I think, like you said, we like to dream big. So I would love to be, every musician's dream. I would love to be headlining, stadium shows and playing festivals and selling out shows and selling tons of records. But I think for me, at least, I'm just trying to take it one day at a time. But if I had to pick one kind of big goal, I would love to be a headliner at like Blues Fest, just because that's such a nostalgic festival for me and for, I know James as well. He goes quite a lot. He's been volunteering for the past few years as well. And I think that would kind of just be a nice full circle moment, going from being someone in the audience, seeing like the Foo Fighters play on the main stage to being there yourself and seeing the crowd. I think that would probably bring a little tear to my eye, not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, 5 years is like, I think a good goal like would be within 5 years to be able to fully be this as a job and sustaining, you know, what we're doing. Like, it would be nice to be able to be focused on this 100% and not have to, you know, work a 40-hour work week and then go home and also, you know, spend all of your free time working on this, because it's a full-time job that you just don't really get paid for, right? Like, it's, I mean, you guys know with all the other stuff you're doing, but, you know, it would be nice to be able to be fully sustained, you know, not have to worry about that and being able to do this. And I think, I mean, Blues Fest would be awesome. I would love to be touring in, you know, Canada, US, Europe would be
Jump on a bill with
awesome.
an awesome band would be cool. I'd love for our music to speak for itself instead of having to be social media influencers.
Yeah.
Probably my least favorite part about this.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, to get it out there now, you really just, it's so much work to just push it, right? Like, it's a numbers game online. It's pretty much.
That's the terrible part about it. We've talked about Spotify and the other online services a lot. I mean, but you guys have the right mindset, and your answer is not a 19-year-old's answer, right? That's a very mature way to look at it, which is great. Like, and I think you guys are focused enough that that's where you'll be in 5 years. So we'll be coming to see you at Blues Fest.
There you go.
You will. I'll probably be dead. 5
We'll
years.
give you the VIP tickets. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Ooh, VIP.
See, I'll bring you in your walker and everything.
Thanks, man. Push me in my wheelchair.
Yeah, no, it's good to dream big, and I think that we talked to Mikhail Laxton, and he's doing Blues Fest. He's been doing it and he's also at Folk Fest, right, Doc?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's been kind of grinding for 9 years, and now he's started to see a little bit of success, and he just sort of stuck with it. And people were saying no to him all the time, and you're not going to play here. And I don't know if you guys listened to that episode or not, or if you listened to any. Hopefully you have. I don't know, James. We'll see. But you know what I mean? Like, I think that you again, 5 years is great. It was a great ambition to be in front of a big crowd at Blues Fest, especially because you're from Ottawa, I suspect. And that's kind of our hometown festival, which is huge across the world, really, because bands in Europe know about Ottawa Blues Fest, right? So it's a great ambition, I think. And being on a bill with a great thing. And yeah, I'd love to have a AV person so I could have my video and my audio set up, and I just sort of sit down with the guests, and that's all we got to do. You know? But I like
5 years from now we'll have a
social
tech guy.
media is a pain in the ass because it's amazing in some ways, but it's also very challenging because it's time consuming, and you're cutting and pasting and doing all these things to make the video attractive to people so that they can actually engage, and whether it's negative or positive. But yeah, it is a full-time job as well.
Well,
I mean, it's a drag to spend a lot of time on a video that just bombs too.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was going to say as well. Like, you see these 1 minute long clips that we post online, or that anyone posts online, and to the viewer, it's 1 minute of their life. But to us, it's hours of filming. James and I do a lot of the video editing. We've had a ton of issues lately with our videos as well, because the music keeps getting copyrighted in them. So even though we own it. So we're still working on that. But it's a lot of effort for just a tiny blip in the amount of content that's out there. So
it's definitely a necessary evil.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's exactly what it is. Now, if you guys, in 5 years, you want to play the big stadiums and stuff, is there somebody you would love to do a duet with?
Oh, a duet with?
Yeah.
Let's see. In terms of female artists kind of in this genre, I mean, I'm a huge Lizzie Hale fan.
I knew that was coming.
She, I mean, who wouldn't be? I think she is definitely someone that I aspire to sound like, and I'm still on my own vocal journey, especially like I told you guys, I used to sing classical music. So going from that kind of mindset to, for the past few years, learning how to use vocal distortion and learn belting and learn aggressive singing. It's like a complete 180 in my brain, and it's very much going against muscle memory that you build up for years and years. But she has always been, since I got into this, a super huge influence. I just think her voice is so powerful. You know, that's kind of what I want to get to. And I would love to sing a song with her.
Nice.
Yeah.
But you've got the education behind you, so you know, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll just throw an old 80s person out there. Well, Pat Benatar
Yeah. Amazing.
was an opera singer before she went to rock, right? And she's got this amazing, powerful voice for somebody, 5'1".
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just keep going with that. That's and just keep learning. Like, you're 22, like, you're going to keep learning. You're going to
Absolutely.
You're going to keep evolving. All of you guys are. Like,
Well,
you know, your guitar style is going to change. Your drumming is going to, you know what I mean? It's going to evolve.
I think that's the nice thing for me is before I got into rock music, it was always kind of that scary thing hearing people use distortion. You're like, oh my gosh, they're hurting their voice. And so it was almost a comfort having this background going into learning this, because I'm aware of the vocal anatomy, and I'm in tune with my body enough to know, oh, hey, this hurts or this burns when it shouldn't be. And so me and my vocal teacher, Lisa Thompson, she's incredible. She's in a local metal band, Sovereign Council, who also just released an EP recently. We've been working a lot on kind of approaching the heavier styles from that classical background. And I think, like I said, it's somewhat difficult because you're changing the muscle memory that you've grown up with, but it's also reassuring knowing, hey, I know exactly what I need to do to make sure that this is sustainable for me to continue doing.
Yeah. And that's what I noticed too. Like years ago, like, you know, when the people called it screamo and stuff, and they said that they weren't talented. I'm like, and I thought the same thing, to be honest, until I started to listen. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, because I'd hear him go on a rant, like the scream, and then start singing. And it's like, holy crap.
Yep.
Like, so you have to have a talent for that. It's not just screaming into a microphone. It's actually having the control to be able to do all that stuff. And it's amazing. So yeah, I just kind of, like, some friends of mine think I'm nuts because they don't like that kind of stuff. So it's just like, well, you don't even listen to it. All you hear is the screaming. You don't hear the amazing control this person has while they're singing. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's hard. I would say that heavy singing is harder than classical singing. It takes so much control, so much breath support, and kind of controlling how much air you're using, because you don't want to force it so much that you're hurting yourself and your vocal cords. And it's very much a back and forth and kind of trying to find that balance of what's the sweet spot that I can push it without injuring myself. So, I mean, it's been years in the process training, and I still have tons and tons of work to do on it. But, I mean, if anyone listening wants to get into heavy singing, it's super important that, you know, you have all your ducks in a row and you've got your basics covered before you get into that. Because trust me, you're gonna want to know how to breathe properly when you get into this kind of singing.
Now, do you guys do backup vocals for this?
No, I don't think anyone wants to hear that. I really can't sing very well. I think that's the goal. I have like no vocal training, so like I can hold a pitch sometimes, but I have no vocal support or anything like that. So I mean, that wouldn't be a service to anyone if I did that.
Right. Duly noted. Tom?
I would love to. I think it's just very hard for me to play and even talk at the moment. Like, I can't do a lot of these complex rhythms. I know there's guys
mouth
that
words sometimes,
but I get tripped up on it, and I don't want my drumming to ever be hindered by having to sing.
It's hard too, because we'd have to pay someone to sit beside you and move the mic back and forth when you're playing. So it's just an extra logistic cost.
Get him a cordless. We'll just want to cordless microphone for Tom.
Those look fine in stadiums, but have you ever seen anybody use those in a local bar? They look really silly.
Not lately. No.
Well, especially you can't really go upside down like Tommy Lee either. So, yeah, maybe go to
next show.
Go to Irene's and do that. Yeah, that's interesting. But again, like you were mentioning earlier, Dawg, is like the evolving as a band. You know, as your guitar playing gets better, you're a great guitarist, but you're going to get better and better and better. and you're a good drummer, but you're going to get better and better and better. So you may add these little aspects that might work for you, and maybe it works in a song where you can actually sing something, but you already have a tremendous singer, so you're all right.
I think for me, one of the things that I feel like our show lacks is backing vocals, especially when you've got some on the recordings and then you show up to the show and they're not there. It's obviously not a necessary thing, but it just adds another layer to the show. So, I mean, I'm ready to give these boys vocal lessons whenever they want. So they just got to take me up on it.
Sorry, boys.
Yeah, she's going to classically train you first, and then, put you through the ringer.
A couple of
I wanna
operettas.
see Marin sing all these songs and play the drum parts.
Well, I can't drum, so
I still want to see it.
well,
All right, so we're going to switch it up. Tom's going to sing and Marin's going to play the drums. Tomorrow night.
And the band folds. No, I'm just kidding.
And the band is...
sorry,
well, Tom's
guys.
got a backup band, and I'm sure Marin... And,
No, they're all in. They're all in.
No,
This is
but
it.
Tom said he has another project he's working on. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's not a backup band. That's a
Sorry.
side project. This is the main thing right here.
Good.
All right, so a side project. Tell us
So-
about it.
So 80s or 90s music, guys? What's the preference?
here you go first.
2000s.
Not an option, Tom.
Okay, then I'd go 90s.
I would go 80s. 80s music, definitely my guilty pleasure.
Oh man,
Nice.
I don't even know. Like, I feel like I have to go 80s just because of like the foundation of the music that I really kind of grew up on. But I really grew up on everything, and man, it's hard. I think like, yeah, that's it. Man, it's so hard because I think like 90s, and I think like industrial grunge, like all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But then I mean 80s. I mean, I definitely listen to like the 80s rock and hair metal and all that kind of stuff. And then I mean, I like all the 80s, like pop music too is fun. So maybe I'll go with 80s.
You can't go wrong with a little Take on Me,
No, you can't. So you were wrong.
How do you feel over there?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
66% there.
Yeah, it hurts my feelings. I
No,
thought,
stop
for
it.
sure you guys would be 90s. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate you.
Tom's the favorite now.
2000s.
Tom is the favorite, you guys. Well,
I
you're
like
my
2000s
favorite, so.
too. I like
It's like
2000s.
2000s metal.
Yeah.
That's just what I like. I like how this. I just like how the records sound. There's something about like the old school records that I don't really like the sound quality as much. Also, the drumming has evolved so much since the 80s.
Yeah.
So
The 80s had
I
drum
get-
machines, so that was kind of like, for a lot of drummers, they really don't care for that. So
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the 70s was like when the real drummers showed up, and then there were some classical drummers that were amazing too, jazz drummers, all that. But like 70s, and then the 80s kind of went to the drum machine, and then the 90s brought it back in a sense that it was industrial and some grunge drummers are excellent. But yeah, I get what you're saying in the 2000s. For me, so I like 90s hip hop. That's where kind of my 90s thing comes from. I obviously like the grunge era, and that was my influential years as my teenage years. But the 2000s, that the sounds that you heard in the 2000s as far as like the actual quality of records comes from Dr. Dre, just so you know.
Interesting.
Yeah, just because of what he did in 1991 when he brought out the Chronic, he changed because he did all of the sound for that, the production, and did the hip hop. Obviously, he rhymed on it too. So, just saying,
He's just trying to get you more set on the 90s.
Well, he's in on the 90s. I was trying to get you two to sort of wake up for a second,
They're both great.
We'll dive into some 90s hip hop on our way back.
I love 90s hip hop. It's fun to listen to. And I mean, yeah, the production on it was really interesting at the time, just listening to it compared to, the other stuff that was coming out before.
yeah, you're trying really hard to sway them. I don't know if I like that.
No, I'm a promoter of
The 90s are dead, dude.
90s music.
Yeah, it's
90s
dead.
90s hip hop. Because hip hop now sucks compared to then.
The 80s had some great hits that I learned in Rock Band 3.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Nice.
Rock Band, Glee, all those stations, for the younger folks out there that, how do you know about this band? Oh, yeah, played it on Rock Band. Great.
It's very true.
It is very true.
It was a
Or I
crazy,
saw it in a Glee episode where they did this song. It was this song.
Yeah. It was crazy. We all grew up the way I had cassettes for crying out loud,
I had the radio.
Yeah. All right, 90s hip hop, James. Yeah, you like that stuff?
Yeah, you said cassettes. I love cassettes. I don't know why. It's like my favorite medium for music. because it's like it's the worst, and it's like a colossal pain in the ass to listen to a cassette. Like you can't like skip to the next song. We used to have them, and they'd get worn out, and the pad gets bad, and then you're listening to it, and it sounds like you're like, "What the hell is wrong with this?"
And then the tape gets stretched. And you
you leave it in the car, and it starts melting. But it's kind of fun to listen to because you have to like just suck it up and listen to the whole record.
No, that's a good point.
It's the same sort of idea as vinyl, but it's even more of a pain to try and like skip. Like you can't even look at the groove to try and like skip to the next track. You're sitting there for 20 minutes, and then you go over it by accident, and you're like, "Oh well, I guess I'll just listen to the whole thing."
That's a valid point. Very valid.
Do you get a whole album on a tape? Because my least favorite thing about vinyl is flipping the thing 3 times.
No, you have to flip a tape too.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's two sides.
You got to flip it twice, same as a vinyl.
yeah. But now albums are 2 vinyls, so
That's true. Yeah,
you
so
have
not
4 sides.
4 sides.
Well,
that's
songs on a side, and it's
That's
just
a
like,
double
oh my
album,
God.
though. That's a little bit different.
Yeah, I think that's just because they want to charge you more,
Yeah,
right?
probably.
Yeah, more likely.
$100 on my last.
So
vinyl.
cassettes were cool
What'd you
because when I was younger, when the cassettes were cool because they didn't skip when you were riding your bike, and you could put them in your Walkman and just go cruising. Man.
Well, you could ride your bike. You couldn't ride your bike with a record player strapped to
I
your
tried
back.
lots. It wasn't really
Yeah,
great.
it doesn't work. It doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tom bought an Avenged Sevenfold LP vinyl. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I wanted to frame it, and then I came in, and it's like book sized, so I can't put that in the frame. So might have to buy a second copy. That's a thinner one.
You bought a deluxe?
Yeah, it was like the deluxe, only on their online shop, and you have to be like a top 1% listener on Spotify.
Was that right? Wow. So it got like a big booklet inside and stuff. And
It had like the lyric book, and it's like a 3-page one.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
that's my favorite
1%.
part.
top 1%. Yeah.
Top 1%.
You
Baby.
made it.
That's my favorite part of like albums is like getting them, taking them out, opening them up, and if there's a liner notes and stuff, you can read those. You can read the lyrics and stuff. But same thing with cassettes for the most part. You can open them up and just kind of goes like this for 5 feet, and you can read everything that's going on. But
It's true. It's actually cool. It folds out 1.5 million times. Do you guys plan on putting out some hard copies?
That's been a widely debated thing. I know James is over there nodding, so I'll let him answer.
I mean, I would love to. I think it's just fun to have
The memorabilia.
Yeah, and it's easy to give out, and people do buy them. It's just the problem is, especially when you're looking at an EP, the upfront cost to do it is relatively high. Even if we're just talking about CDs, because like that's the most affordable one to do. It's still relatively high, and then you don't want to upcharge it because people are already on the fence about buying a CD because you don't really need one. So it's hard to make the margins actually fit. Like it's more worthwhile to buy t-shirts and sweaters is kind of what we found. But I think when we do like a full length album, we'll definitely do it. It's just hard to justify it for an EP because you're spending so much money on 5 songs. Like if you put a little bit more time into it and put out the full length album, I think we'll definitely do that. But it's hard to justify it.
I feel like more people have the capability, at least in our age group, to actually listen to vinyl than CDs these days. I don't even, like my car doesn't even have a CD player. I don't have a CD player at all in my house.
Yeah, and I mean, plus like it doesn't really do anything in terms of like actual distribution or outreach like it used to. Like it's really just a novelty item at this point. Like it's a cool thing to have.
Yeah.
Maybe it sounds better or if you're actually putting it through a good system, which most people might not be. It's really just a novelty thing. Like it doesn't, if you're actually trying to get outreach, I mean, social media and Spotify and Apple Music and stuff is kind of the way to go, which is unfortunate, but it's the way it is.
well, it's just a sign of the times, right? Like somebody like me, and even Gus, like because I grew up on 8-tracks and cassettes and LPs and stuff, so I'm kind of like a collector. So I like to have that and just put it on, to put it up and just to collect it, right? But you're right. Like nowadays, it's like you're streaming one song, you're streaming another song. You're not putting out a full like 5 or 6 songs at one time. You're putting them out one at a time. For a lot of folks out there who don't have they just can't listen to a whole album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean that's what we did with our EP. Is it's a 5-song EP, but 4 of the songs we had released as singles ahead of it, and I think, especially with the need on social media and on Spotify for constant content. People, if you're just putting out one song, people are going to get board with it pretty easily. And as much as we wanted to put a little more material onto the EP, the reality is that, you know, doing the singles, like you said, it's kind of just the way that people do it now. So in the future, if we were to release a full length, I would definitely love to have more content on that, especially if we were to do a hard version that people have not heard before. And I think, you know, the track that we released on our EP today, the new one people haven't heard, is a super strong track. I love that piece. You know, it's one of the first ones we wrote pre Space Between. That was a song that had kind of floated around James and Mai's old project, and we didn't end up using it. So we kind of zhuzhed it up for the new band and made it more of our sound. But yeah, I think it's really tricky to balance the constant output of things versus, you know, the artists want to, hey, I put out this full-length album. And I know that's something James and I especially have talked about a little bit, is just, like I said, just wanting to feel like you have that sort of stamp of approval thing that you can show people and be like, look, this is a giant work that I created and I'm super proud of.
Yeah, it's hard because it's an ego thing for me, like being like, oh, I want to put out an album. Here's my, you know, full length album. It's, you know, got whatever 10 songs on it. But the reality is now, like if we were to put out, like today, if we released a 10-song album and we'd only released, you know, 3 singles, it would probably just flop and no one would listen to it, because people are, I mean, even me, like I'm guilty of it as well. Like you listen to a song or two, and if it doesn't immediately pique you, you're probably just going to click off of it, right? Like, so it's really hard to balance the artistic element, and there are people who like to listen to an album all the way through, with, you know, the commercial side of the industry, which is you just have to kind of play the singles game in order to sort of maximize, you know, every 2 months, oh, here's a new single, or here's a remix of the single, or a new version of it, whatever, to be able to kind of keep that influx going. And then if you have that sort of stream, then you can release full-length albums. If you have the base, and people will listen to it. But it's really hard to, you know, spend thousands of dollars on a whole album when you could just release a single and it'll get the same or more traction. It's a tough balance to make in the industry and where we're at, you know, as a band.
Very true. It's a good point too. Like, but you know, but old guys like this, we like the vinyl.
We do like the vinyl. It does sound cool. I know that you don't like flipping it, but that's a fun part of it.
I love collecting it, though.
Yeah, fair enough. You just don't like flipping it. Fair enough. Well, thank you so much for your time. Like, I appreciate you coming out and, of course, dealing with a little bit of the issues we did deal with. But, you know, we look forward to following you and seeing how far you go, because you're very talented, and I think that there's a big upside to your future. I know that Dawg was the one that got me on to you guys, and he's the man about town. But again, we will have you on again with full video, just so you
Amazing.
guys. Yeah, but I do have a couple little bits about you, and I can't wait to see how it goes. And I'm looking forward to listening to the EP on the way home.
Thank you both so much for having us.
Yeah, no problem. It's fun.
You're welcome at our shows anytime.
This tomorrow we have our show. Yeah,
I'll be there.
it'll be fun.
Yep. And you guys are doing the Rock Fest too, right? City Fest? Is that,
We're not.
We're doing Panda Fest. We're
Panda. Sorry, I've got a few of them in my head.
Yeah,
I know.
there's a lot happening this summer, but yeah, we're on Panda Fest. We're headlining one of them.
Yeah, so with Brad's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're the Friday, I think.
I think so,
I
yeah.
hope so.
It's
Because
Friday,
I move on
Saturday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It's all about Tom.
Yeah.
Tom.
Diva.
we're headlining the Friday night there, which will be super, super fun. And then in the fall, we've got a few more exciting things coming up, which can't disclose many details right now, but just keep your Halloween weekends open. That's all I'll say.
There you go. The space between.
Metal and Halloween go together.
They sure do.
Thanks,
Hard
guys.
rock with metal.
Hard aluminum.
Shut down.
Dawg and Gus, Dawg and Gus, Dawg and Gus.